Good morning, it's Technique Tuesday. In this video, I'm going to teach you guys how to come up with ideas for a textile or pattern design. All this and more coming right up. So today, rather than focusing on a typical painting technique or drawing technique or that sort of thing, I'm going to focus on design. I'm currently working on a project, a textile design project for an online clothing company. So this is going to be a really fun, quick video on how to come up with ideas for a textile or pattern design. I'm just going to go through with you guys on this board behind me how I kind of come up with my different ideas through finding different patterns and textures and photographs online to come up with a final pattern design. This is going to be the first of a two-part video, so be sure to check in next Tuesday for the final result. If you guys like watching videos about artists, art techniques, and art business, go ahead and click subscribe now so you don't miss any of our future videos. Enjoy! All right, just so you guys know, I am currently at home. I am not in my studio right now. I actually have this drafting table that I like to use when I work on drawings or design work and that sort of thing. My studio down the street is much too small for me to have a drafting table and spread things out like this. So let me talk to you guys about where these photos came from and kind of what I'm going for in my pattern. So I was approached by a clothing company, an online clothing company out of Asheboro, and typically what places will do when they approach you about a design is they will give you a mood board about the kinds of images that they're looking for, or like the colors, the kind of design elements, the theme that they're kind of going for, you know, colors and that sort of thing. So they gave me this mood board here. And it's kind of hard to see, but you can tell that it's a very boho, very bohemian vibe. They wanted to go with like a bohemian desert kind of vibe for these patterns that I'm going to create. And furthermore, they also gave me these patterns, these classic patterns to kind of go off of. They want something, it looks like they want something a little bit more basic, a little less intricate of designs. So these classic patterns like, you know, Burberry and Louis Vuitton and all of these patterns, they want to have something kind of classic that they can use over and over again for different seasons, of course. So really, before I even begin finding photos and other patterns that I like to go off of, I find my sketchbook. My design sketchbook. I have a sketchbook for each kind of artwork that I do. I put the mood board in here, and what I did was I decided to, you know, they have some words down here that kind of like gave me a little idea of what they were looking for, but at the bottom I also went ahead and just wrote down any key words that I think would match well with these sort of photographs. So like soft, light, floral, cactus, natural, delicate, free, and spacious, warm, you know, all the warm colors in there, the glow that you see behind the girl's hair, and, you know, the glow in the sunset here. So that kind of gives me an idea of like a color scheme and like just the feel of the kind of pattern that I'm going for. So the next thing I did was I went online and I just researched images. Here are some examples for some things that I searched. Sorry, this is a little messy. But I searched, before I even searched, I just wrote down some search keywords, you know, for Google that I could type in. Cactus, close-up cactus images, other desert boho designs, desert flower, boho patterns, boho desert style textile, textile patterns, desert flower textile patterns. You know, I looked up all sorts of different images, and this is what I came up with. So some pattern and design elements that I really enjoy personally are repeatable patterns in nature. And since we're going with like a desert bohemian theme, you know, bohemian, a lot of times, you know, they'll have really intricate patterns and such. And, you know, desert, of course, you see all these repeatable, you know, repeating patterns in nature, the way that, you know, the petals all kind of surround the center of this flower in this way, in this shape. So you can see the different shapes and the different elements here. I loved this photo so much. I'm really going to do something with this. Also, this one's a great photo too. It's a little bit detailed, but I mean, I kind of get an idea of like this star shape here. I might want to go with something with that star shape. And then, you know, I found these cactuses, which is not the best picture because it's before I put new ink in my printer. But I'm going for, of course, boho vibes. We have flowers here. This is actually a larger image from the mood board that I printed out. I love that image. You know, and finding more cactus images, cactus flowers. Furthermore, I researched other kind of boho desert themed designs online that were already made. I did not design these. I just found these online. But positive and negative space is one thing that you definitely need to pay attention to when you're looking at different patterns. And what I mean by positive and negative space is that, you know, the positive space is what's being filled, like the design part, the design elements, and the negative space is this white in the background, you know, the kind of space between everything. You know, and you can see there's less negative space in this, depending on how you look at it, I guess. This, you know, it has a lot of negative space in here, but it also has a couple different layers, which I also like. So I liked the layered look of this. This one is a little too kitty and cutesy for me personally, but I did kind of like the way that they place the design elements throughout the piece here. And I love the look of this flower design as well. So the next thing that I do is I get my handy dandy self-healing mat, and I get an X-Acto knife, and I get pieces of paper here. I actually used watercolor paper because I really liked the thickness of it, but you can also use cardstock, of course, but watercolor paper is just what I happen to have handy. So I just took a piece of paper and I just cut squares, different sizes, you know, so I have like a little variety here, and I'll show you what I'll do with those. So this way you can catch different elements of the photograph by moving it around, you know. This definitely helps me in my process. I should probably make some smaller ones considering my photographs are actually fairly small themselves. But you get the point here, see what I'm going with, where you can see certain design elements. See, now that looks like more like a star. You know, and I might actually use that image there. So the next thing I like to do, the next step in my process, is to use this bleed-proof tracing paper. So I'll take a piece of this tracing paper and I'll just put it over these images here, and I'll just kind of trace some of the design elements that I like. Like one of the first things that I'm going to do here is I'm going to kind of trace the bubbles and the little dots around this piece. So you just see the dots, you don't really see all of this prickliness around it, because what you do with the design is you try to simplify elements. So basically I will simplify these photographs, simplify these elements, draw them again in my sketchbook, and then continue simplifying, continue editing, continue changing, continue sketching and drawing until I find the right image that I like. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you really enjoyed the video today. I know it was a little short, but you got to learn a bit of my design process. And if you have any questions, please feel free to put those in the comments below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Don't forget that this is a two-part video, so don't be discouraged. Next week, I'm going to show you a little bit more of my process, show you my sketches, and then show you my final result. I am creating 5 designs for this company, so you're going to see a whole lot here in the next week. Again, remember to stay peaceful, as a calm mind is a creative mind. Now go get inspired. be an influence, and make something beautiful today. Peace.